Okay. Act like this is our first podcast, but this is podcast 21. But before we get into that, are you surviving Hurricane Debbie, Jessie?
I am. When I think of that, my mom's name is Debbie,
Yeah,
and
but
she
this
is,
Hurricane Debbie is spelled weird.
yeah, I think it's,
Debby? What
yeah,
Debbie spells
nobody
her name like
spells,
that?
I know,
It's
not even
D E
little Debbie
it's
spells it like that.
Debbie.
Right.
I mean, okay. Yeah. Okay, so Hurricane Debbie
Debbie.
is blowing through South
Mm-hmm.
Carolina right now. What are you
I don't know.
experiencing?
It's really not that bad. I mean, knock on wood. Thank goodness. I'm
Because you're
hoping
like
it's just,
you're inland a little bit, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, we're like a bowl though, so everything floods.
Yeah,
Had rain. I don't know about you over there. We've had rain every day for like the
seriously.
past few weeks, so it doesn't feel any different than it's been.
Seriously. I'm over it.
But I have
Um,
my canoe ready just in case. Put all my goats in it and my dogs and paddle away.
so I feel you on the like you're kind of like in the armpit of South Carolina. I say that lovingly, right? Because you're like in this
Sure.
you're like armpit, you're in the armpit. So everything like,
It's
you
true.
flood, right? It goes down. I'm not in the armpit, but I'm in
The
coastal
butt crack.
Virginia, like below sea level in Norfolk, where we actually are officially sinking. Like the
Oh,
reports are that my house eventually will be waterfront property because
Wow.
yeah,
well, congratulations.
That's good. You won the lottery.
sweet. I don't think I will see it, but we live like a block from the river, and eventually that river will be my backyard. So
That'll
yeah.
get rid of your possum problem. I'm just saying.
Jesse, it's not possum, it's raccoons.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you're
It's
right.
raccoons.
Well, possums too. Hey, Foxy killed a whole family of them in the crawl space recently. So, she's taking care of business out back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And recently I remember I want you to tell Amanda this story about your turkey baster.
I don't know.
Oh
You,
my. Where are we going
Did
with
I give
this?
away the punchline?
yeah. Well, okay, this sounds so stupid. Maybe it is, but
Ah,
we played trivia Sunday night at Lowe's Foods.
You're just a regular old couple, aren't you? Hey, what
It
are
was
we gonna
okay.
do
It was
on
me
Sunday?
and
Let's go
eight of
play
our friends.
trivia at the local supermarket.
It was 10 of us that went and we played trivia because you can drink and shop and play trivia all in one. So it was like Sunday fun day. So we said, let's go play. And first they said, okay, general knowledge. And to which I could not answer but one. And I said, I thought you said this was general knowledge. She said, yeah, I said it's general, not common. I'm like, okay, all right. Well,
Dang, she's
uh,
throwing
I
shade.
know she was trifling.
uh,
We won, by the
She's
way.
trying to
We
call.
split up
She's
our
calling you
team.
common.
I'm common peasant. And we won. My sister had gone the week before, which is how we figured out about it because she was just grocery shopping and heard it over the intercom. and so we all went. She won a gift card. So we won. And I was like, oh, heck yeah, we won a gift card. And they were like, all right, come and pick first place, come and pick your prize. And it was a turkey baster off of the clearance rack.
I mean, when was Jesse?
ah.
When was the last time you baked a turkey?
Never. But my cousin that makes the turkey was there. And I said, you know
What
what? Why
else?
don't you take it?
What else
So
could you
I
use
don't
the
know that I'll be
turkey
back.
baster for?
I don't.
I don't know. This could go in all sorts of directions. So let's just go ahead and get
Let's
started.
just carry on.
Okay, we are here for episode 21, and Jesse and I have been invited. I can't even talk. We have invited our very good friend and colleague, Amanda Martin, to join us today.
Hey.
Hello. Hello.
Hey.
Amanda, online sales coach extraordinaire, is here because we're going to talk about benchmarks today. And so, she's our resident nerd. Just kidding. She's our resident number cruncher, right? And so she's going to be
Yes.
talking all things benchmarks. But before we kind of get into that, we've got a couple of housekeeping things that we want to talk to you guys about today. But first, I know I was going to ask you. I was thinking about this earlier before we kind of get into this. Do you guys remember the feeling when you were a brand new online sales specialist and you were like, okay, it's go time. I've got to start managing leads.
Yes.
Do you remember that feeling?
I
Do
do.
you really remember that
Yes.
day or that feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you thinking?
I was excited. There was just no roadblocks. I was like, I'm getting an appointment. There's no reason why you're not going out there.
So
I
you
don't
were
know. I
just
kinda
like,
was
you
pumped
were
up.
like, you're saying
I
you
was
were
ready
like
to go.
overly optimistic. Like, I'm going to get all the
Let me
appointments.
get on the phone. Yeah.
Like, give me the lead, give me the calls, give me the leads. I'm going to get appointments. Like, what could go wrong? What's what
Yeah.
you were thinking? Interesting. Okay. Jessie, what were you thinking?
I think I blacked it out. There's a few like pieces I remember. One, I remember my first appointment, which was on my first day. And I had never felt more victorious. I don't know. It was such a sense of
Right.
like accomplishment. I
Great
ran down the
feeling.
hall to my boss at the Times office and we celebrated and all of that. I remember my first video email that I recorded 38 times, no joke. But the feeling to take, it was more so the first call in lead was just like petrified, honestly. Like, I won't know enough. What if I can't answer their questions? Like, very fearful. And then just exposure in that one day, I think of like, oh, okay, I got this. It all changed.
Yeah.
So
So
why? What about you?
I definitely remember feeling like a nervous energy, if that makes sense. Like, I was excited, but I was nervous. And I think I had a lot of pressure. Like, I wanted to do such a good job. And I had to prove myself. It was a brand new program. There was a lot of like doubt, like, is this going to work? Like, what's the deal? And I just remember having that pressure of like, I have to prove myself. The reason I'm bringing this up is a couple reasons. One, Sam, is like, you guys know he's starting some online sales stuff with his builder. And he was like nervous all weekend. Like, oh, like, I'm going to start like managing leads. And, he just had that like nervous energy. And I was like, bro, like, you can like make lots of good money now. Like, just be yourself and like, just go for it. Kind of like Amanda saying, like, just set appointments and like, just talk to people and just have good conversations and your natural ability, like, you're going to be successful. It'll be fine.
Right.
But the second reason I bring this up is, as a coaching team, we're onboarding a lot of new online sales specialists right now. There's a lot of,
So
right?
many. Oh man. So
And
many.
I had 2 kickoff calls today, right?
Me
Where
too.
I had 2 and
Wow.
they were like, they were just like, so like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous and I want to do a good job. And I can just remember being in that seat and like, as coaches, like I said to them, I said, listen, we've seen it all. Like, we continue to see it all. That's why it's like, we're here to help you. Like, we've been where you're at and we work with hundreds. I think it's probably thousands at this point that we've put through our training and that we've worked with. And, we know what works and we know how to best help you and support you so that you're going to be successful. Which brings me to, if you're listening and you really need that additional support, we have our next fall online sales academy coming up. We just, by the time you hear this podcast, registration is open. Jessie, what are the dates? And so everybody knows.
Yeah, it's a good point. So we changed it up a little bit. So
We did?
made them a little bit shorter. Shorter days because we realized, these are active working online sales specialists potentially. And so it's going to be 3 half days.
Yes.
November the 13th through the 15th, and then an additional 8 weeks of continued support and virtual trainings and meetings and things like that. So
yes. Yeah. 3 half days. But I was talking to, I'll just say Marilyn, if you're listening. She was super excited and to kick off today. And I wanted to tell Jessie, you and Amanda that she said, I feel like I know you because I've been listening to your podcast. And
Aw.
she said, you guys are really funny. And I said, yeah, I said that we have fun. We have fun, but also we have high expectations. Like we're in the business of training and helping make award winners. So speaking of award winners, Jessie, what do we have coming up? They opened up
Yes, the
awards.
national awards. A little birdie put in my ear because the days are just flying by so quickly.
It's
And
freaking
they said, "Hey,"
August, by the way.
I know.
How many days
Yeah.
till like the holidays? I mean, this is crazy.
Oh,
It's gonna be
it's just a few days
Thanksgiving
to my
before we.
birthday. Oh,
It's gonna be. I know
I'm
your
just kidding.
birthday. Your birthday is coming up on Monday. Amanda and I were just talking, right? Amanda and I were just talking about that. Amanda's birthday is
National
coming up the end
holiday.
of the month.
Yeah.
Like we have so much. We have the summit. Then we have Online Sales Academy. Then we have the holidays.
Builder
Then
show.
we have the Builder Show, the Nationals. I mean, basically, it's like March before we know it. So, who should apply for the Nationals? What categories do they have?
They have Rookie of the Year for anybody in the
Mhm.
seat a year or less. They have Online Sales Specialist of the Year, so anybody who's been in the seat a year or longer, and then
Mhm.
Team of the Year. So if you're, of course, a part of a team of 2 or more.
Yes.
And they have
And
online sales, yeah.
or were
Manager.
we
I think.
tracking online sales
think we just-
manager?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Online sales manager, but you use the sales manager application. I don't know if they've come out with a specific online sales manager. We can check on that for you. But if they don't have the specific online sales manager application, just use the sales manager application. That's what the queen of the Nationals, Lisa Parrish, told me. So if you manage an online sales team, you apply too for a manager. So that's coming up. We encourage you to apply. It gives you great street cred with your team, your company, in the industry. Plus, it freaking makes you feel good to win an award and highlight all the success that you've had throughout the year. So, we're big fans of winning awards over here. Clearly can see like to highlight awards, even my unicorn
showing hers
trophy
off.
for fantasy football. So
Which I've
okay.
never won, but coming for you.
Let's get into our what online people are talking about today, which we have Amanda here to go through the benchmarks, right? Know your numbers. That's a huge important part of being an online sales specialist. So Amanda, where are we at? Yo? And first, for those of people that don't exactly know, like, what are the benchmarks? Why do we take great care in calculating these things?
Yes. The benchmarks are great. So we compile, all kinds of different builder partners, all the data, we crunch it all together. So it's all kinds of markets, it's established online sales programs, new online sales programs, big companies, small companies, you name it is all in there. And we make it one collective output of data. So it's exciting to see. And we track that, every single quarter, and we can do comparisons and watch how things change as we go throughout the year. So it was a really good quarter. We were surprised to see how great everything turned out. But to share those new benchmarks that we just released, the appointment made to kept that came in at 95%, so a little bit better there. Lead to appointment conversion that came in at 39%. So that held steady from quarter 1 to quarter 2. So that was awesome. Appointment to sale, we actually saw an increase there, which was really, really cool. So it went up from 20% all the way up to 23%. So a 3% increase there. And then last but not least, our online sales contribution came in at 48%, which increased as well. So up by 2%. For quarter 1 was 46%. Woo. So, yeah, really good stuff. Yeah.
I just want to say too, thank you for that. And I have to give you props because, it's not, it's not all of the builder partners we work with, but it's the builder partners that we can verify the data integrity of. Everybody's counting leads the same way. They're counting appointments the same way. They're counting sales the same way, right? Which does vary. I mean, we've seen some builders do things a little bit differently. And that first metric that you said, the 95% show appointment kept rate, right, is what you said.
Yeah.
Just for clarification for everybody, that is appointment made to kept. Like, so that's your show rate. And I'm just clarifying this because some people don't track that. Like I was talking with somebody recently that was like, we just track like lead to appointment made. I'm like, no, you got to track the show rate. Like how many of these appointments showed up? Because if you have a dip in that show rate or you're not hitting that 90% goal, it's usually an indication of, you know, maybe a handoff issue or we're not setting expectations or something going on there. So, okay, now I have to ask you guys both.
Yeah.
When you saw those benchmarks come out, were you surprised? Were you like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense? What were your thoughts?
I was surprised. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised anyway, because you kind of hear like the mumbling, like, oh, it seems a little quieter. So you would think like, oh, the numbers are probably not going to be as great as we would think. But here we are, and the sales, the bottom part of the conversion funnel was stronger. So that was exciting to see. I was surprised.
Jessie, what?
But I think it's
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, Jessie, what were your thoughts initially?
I'm with you, Amanda. Just, you know, the feedback that we got on like, hey, what's the vibe? Like, how are you feeling? Was oftentimes slower leads, less appointments, like, the doom and gloom. And then we see the numbers and we're surprisingly delighted because I think we get in this rut of forgetting it's not just looking at the appointment set, because the appointment set are based on the opportunities that are in the funnel. It's like, are you converting the opportunities that you have? And if you're still staying steady with what you have, then that's successful. And so you can't make appointments out of leads that you don't have, or you can't make sales out of appointments you don't have. And so
you can't.
I know, right? What?
Why not,
Jessie?
Just go
poof, and there's an appointment sale. Yeah.
Sometimes, I don't know. But Amanda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we saw like a lower dip than we expected on lead volume. So like an 8% dip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just over 8%. Yeah.
And 8% really to me doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But when you think about,
I was surprised by that too.
Yeah.
I was thinking.
What I heard was, okay, so yes, they're getting a little bit less opportunity, but numbers wise, not totally different, but the engagement in Q2 of that opportunity was substantially different. So it was still very eager in Q1. If they called, they either answered or called them back. Q2, it's like they're dipping their toes in and then they're kind of like stepping back again, going, I don't know. And so they're not getting the engagement that they were used to. And so I think that's why we saw an increase in the age leads, because OSCs are like getting dirty going, I got to get some leads in my funnel.
That was,
and I think that's why the sale conversion was higher.
Same. That's what I was thinking too. So to answer my original question, I was surprised. Like, but like, I was like, oh, okay, online sales. I see you.
Way to hustle.
Like, let's go. Like, I was like, come on, like, this is amazing. And this is why in a harder market, online sales are freaking rock stars.
Dominate.
Because like, you know, and again, I'll say this like till I'm blue in the face, right? Online sales, you're the constant. You're the constant because we saw a decrease in leads. And it's like, okay, decrease in leads. Okay, no worries. I'm going to go prospect. I'm going to go dig into my database. And like both of you are saying, I've been hearing from online sales specialists, they're saying like the newer leads are harder to convert. Like they're taking a little bit longer to convert when they come in. The older leads though, that were saying like 2 years ago, like, I'll wait and see what happens in a couple of years. Like the couple of years is up.
Mhm.
And they're, you know, the OSCs that are really digging in and consistently doing their prospecting, they're seeing good results. So I think all of those things. Any other key takeaways, Amanda, that you want everybody to know that you feel like are important here?
Well, we also do pull out top performers. So yeah. So I was going to share those too, because like I said before, that first mix of, you know, conversion numbers, some of them are very, very new programs or very new OSCs. So they're just getting established. But what does it look like if we look at just the people that have been in the seat for a while and
consistently, you know, are over benchmark thresholds, right? Yeah.
Right. So if we just look at those people, our top performers, those benchmarks, they come in at 54% for lead to appointment. So super strong there. Wow. Amazing. 23% appointment to sale. And then last but not least, 52% online sales contribution. So good stuff.
Amazing. So again, 50% contribution. Like if you're like Amanda saying, if you're just starting out and you're like, man, I'm not hitting these numbers, that's okay. I was talking with somebody earlier today that initially in month 1 started out with a 13% contribution. And now is at a 38% contribution at 3 months later. It's like,
that incline is what you're looking for.
That's okay.
It takes time.
It takes time. You're moving in the right direction. You just got to know where you're at, so you know what to improve,
where you're headed.
Yeah. Any other thoughts, Jessie, on this?
No, but since we went back into our archives of our mind, I remember the first year, our team appointment overall company contribution was 4%. And then it went to the next year and it was like 28. And then the next year it was like 35. And then it was 50, you know? And so it's funny to reflect back on what we thought was successful at the time and how long it actually took.
I remember
to get there through like making the processes more clean by, you know, perfecting our skills and getting more confident and comfortable. But I think one thing that's interesting, Amanda, that you pointed out about the top performers and about just the industry benchmarks is that the appointment to sale conversion was the same for both. They were both 23%, but the overall company contribution was higher on the top performers because their appointments set were higher. So it's like top loading more appointments will eventually lead to your increase of total company sales.
Think about that. 39% average is where we were at across the board, right? But that higher, you know, converting group was at 54%.
54.
Right? So again, that is like more appointments. Plus, you know, if you're setting appointments now, you're setting up your pipeline for 2 months from now, 3 months from now. And one thing Amanda mentions in her blog is just tracking that lag time of, talk a little bit about that, Amanda, because we're seeing some online sales specialists do that.
Yeah, that's really kind of been a focus. And I think it's going to be important for the coming months is kind of knowing that cycle time, that lag time, like it's going to help in the second part of the year because we saw that 8% decrease from quarter 1 to quarter 2. So like when you get this influx of leads in quarter 1, when does it come out in the wash in the cycle, right? And convert to a sale. So knowing that lag time, you can easily track it on your appointment trackers. Okay, nerd talk here. So you're subtracting out dates, right? So when did our leads sign up? When did they go to an appointment? How many days was that? And then taking an average. And you can even take it or pull out kind of just the newer leads if you wanted to. If you don't want to put age leads in the mix, there's a couple different ways you can look at it. But having an idea around how long it takes for a lead to convert to an appointment. And then you can take it further and figure out, okay, well, once they go to an appointment, how long does it take on average for that to turn into a sale? So
Amanda, guys, I know your new tattoo.
What?
You need to get a tattoo that says facts, not feelings.
Gosh.
What'd you say? Not feelings.
Amanda needs to get one tattoo. because she has 0.
Yeah.
So her
I have
first
0.
tattoo is going to be facts, not feelings, with a graph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down. I think that's great.
Okay, we'll take
All
it.
right.
So just to bring it back, man, we're just spicy this afternoon.
Yeah.
Just to bring it back, tracking lead created date to initial appointment is something that you could add to your reporting, online sales. And then appointment to sale. And any of this data, right, is helpful to tell the story. One of your jobs as an online sales specialist is to tell the story about what is happening with your leads. And when the market gets hard, people want story time.
And they want data.
They want story time. They want to understand, right? So can I get a hell yeah? If you're listening and you're like, man, people all up in my business asking me lots of questions. Well, you know what? To prevent people up in your business asking a bunch of questions, just be proactive in telling them what's going on. Be proactive, like
so good.
Be proactive in telling the story, like keep track of the data, give them weekly, like a quick summary, like, hey, this is what happened this week. Here's what's going on. Communicate with your leaders and marketers so that you don't feel like, man, everybody's in my lane over here. Okay. It's important.
Yeah.
Okay. Next segment is our video mailbag, but guess what? We don't have a video. So listen, guys, send us in video questions so we can highlight you on Opt. You can send it to onlinesales@doyouconvert.com. But we do have a question that we're going to share with you because we got this in our Facebook community page or whatever. And this was the question we got. Hey, online salespeople, do any of you use UTOR? Do you have a specific follow-up process you are using specifically for these prospects? And so we were talking about this as a coaching team. We could have a whole podcast about self-touring, which we probably need to do. We need to put on the schedule to do. But we just want to give you some quick feedback from our perspective and what we've seen work and what we've seen not work. Jessie, what are your quick thoughts on this topic? Like specifically like putting this on the website?
It should be a back pocket tool. It should be, firsthand for on-sites. So using it if customers are out touring the community when your model home's closed or it's not staffed, definitely an amazing resource to capture your audience while they're there and in person to see what you guys offer. But I think, when we're looking just to capture any interest in what can feel like a really challenging market, to display UTOR as an option on our website sometimes gives the customer the easy way out to say, no, I don't need to engage with anybody. I don't need to talk with anybody. I'll just go out. And the one home that they tour, maybe the design selections or the space of the lot or whatever the situation is, they might go, yuck, I don't like this. And in their mind that goes, yuck, I don't like this builder. When really we could have had the ability to have that conversation and put them in a different direction that we know would have been suitable for them. So using it as a back pocket, not an option on the website.
Yeah.
So, if you do have something on the website that is, linked to, we're not saying like don't have some sort of self, touring type of situation. We're not saying don't have that. We're just saying that don't make it where you bypass online sales and you go directly there. So if it is put on the website, have something that's like request a tour, versus just being able to schedule it on their own and go out there. That way, the online sales specialist has the opportunity to qualify this person and set expectations and kind of get a vibe on and just make sure that it makes sense.
Yeah.
But if to answer this OSC's original question, like if you are getting those notifications that there are UTORs or self-touring happening, you should have some sort of lightweight follow-up process that keeps you and your builder in front of them, that you try to re-engage. Now I'm saying lightweight, soft selling type of verbiage, like, hey, I know that you had a tour. I'm here to help if you need anything. They went on a self-tour for the reason that they didn't want to talk to me. So don't be trying to like blow them up with like a bunch of engagement, spread it out. But yes, you should have some sort of follow-up. But hey, stay tuned. We will do a deep dive on this, and maybe we'll bring on an OSC who's kind of using this, and we'll talk through it. Okay, Amanda, it's time for a skills check, because you got to check yourself before you what?
Wreck yourself.
Yes. Okay. So give everybody some homework. What's their homework?
Okay. All right. You guys can put in some data points in your appointment tracker. You can figure out how many, of your appointments are coming from age leads, and start tracking it. Like, add a couple line items on your summary sheet where you can see, like, from the appointments I've set this month, how many came from an age lead? Okay. So if you have those calculations already on your appointment tracker, why not like get some data around your prospecting efforts? And you can figure out, okay, if I got 5 appointments from age leads out of my 50 appointments, what percentage of appointments is coming from age leads? And if the behaviors are in place that we recommend for prospecting, your goal should be 15% every month of appointments from age leads. And that's a way that you can kind of check to make sure you're in line and strive for more.
I love that. We actually bumped up that number to 15%, because we used to, back in the day, we were like, okay, like 10% of your appointments in a month should come from older leads. But because, when leads go low, that's your time. You got more bandwidth. You got to go prospect. And so we're seeing those numbers go higher. Like, I mean, guys, I don't know about you, I've seen like 25, 30, 40%, 50% of appointments coming from age leads. We're like, dang, like, okay, like, let's make 15% kind of a minimum standard, right? Like, try to hit that 15%. And again, that tells a story. Go figure that out, guys, and then go tell your manager and be like, look, 15% of our, and then your prospecting efforts are working.
I think too, a good thing to note is, what is an age lead anyways? So it really like depends on how long you nurture a non-responsive lead to begin with, like how long they're in your short-term follow-up process. So if you manage them for 30 days and then you give them 2 weeks time, we normally say 45 days and older is an age lead. Like, that's a question we get all the time, is what's considered an age lead? And if your process is 30 days, it would be 45. If your process is longer, obviously your age lead time would be longer. And I actually have been tracking this because I am just so curious. Like, I want to know the why behind all of this stuff. And I have been seeing a huge uptick, like you said, Jen, 25, 30%. And the bottom of the funnel is just converting incredibly. And people are like, how is this happening? And it's like, we're getting people who had their cycle time that Amanda was talking about that started 6 months, a year ago. They've already had that decision-making opportunity, and they're like, okay, now I'm ready. The new leads that are coming in, some are going to be quick turnaround. We love those, but some are just now starting that cycle time. They need 6 months to do to figure it out. So you definitely get a good return on investment, even if it feels hard when you're doing it, because you might have to make 50 calls to get one age lead appointment, but the opportunity to convert that one appointment to sale is really, it's really good.
Man, it feels good when you get that conversion, doesn't it? Like, I followed up with this person 45 times and I finally got an appointment. Woo! Yes. Boom. I am the woman. Okay. Well, listen, you guys are so awesome. Thanks for all that you do for everybody listening and all of our partners. Amanda, thanks for joining us and bringing your big old brain.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Are you down with OPT?
Yeah, you know me.
Oh, yes. All right. Y'all go forth and be awesome.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, everybody.